Hey, welcome to World Entertainment. And Predator, Badlands, the movie coming out this November. The first live-action Predator movie to be on the big screen since The Predator back in 2018. And now the question really is, will this actually work? Can it be a success? Can it earn money and rejuvenate the Predator franchise on the big screen? And that is the question that's really being asked as of now, because Predator Killer of Killers has recently dropped on Hulu, and it does seem to have, regarding the fan reaction, quite a mixed reaction. Critics seem to be very much loving it, but the fan reaction, much like Prey, seems to be quite mixed. And this is where the question starts coming in. Prey was a success, there's no arguing about that. However, the fan base was split somewhat 50-50 regarding their takes on it. Some really loved it, some thought it was meh, and others were kind of like outright hated it. Then Predator Killer of Killers comes out from the same director, and the reaction seems to be the same. There's a lot of people who felt there was a lot of interesting elements but dropped the ball, and then there's people who flat out think they absolutely ruined the whole lore to the Predator world. Now Badlands is on its way, and there's already controversy with Badlands, being the fact that the Predator looks too human, and the fact that he's going to team up with a human, or at least a synthetic. So question really is starting to be asked, is Dan Trachtenberg the right person to lead the charge regarding the Predator universe? And when you're looking at everything we've seen from him so far, you're kind of starting to doubt whether or not he will actually succeed with Badlands. One of the biggest mistakes right away going into Badlands was the redesign of the Predator. Now, the Predator look in Prey is a terrible look when the mask is off, but he gave a good explanation as to why. Number one, it was a feral Predator, and number two, it's a different species of Predator. It's not the same breed that we've met before. It's not the typical Yautja. It's a brand new one, and of course it's set however many years in the past, so it's a very different take on a Predator. You can't have that argument for Badlands, where you can see the elements of the Predator we know and love, but then he just made it look more human. And he has discussed that he really did push to make the face look more human, because he wanted more expression in the face. And when you hear something like that, and then you look at the 1987 Predator, which was a mask with mechanical movement bits in it and an actual actor behind the makeup, and you just think, the motion we can already see on this thing's face, we don't need it to have like a look of shock and horror, surprise, anger, rage, happiness, sadness. We don't need that. We need it to look like it's a vicious killing machine that it is. Now, Prey obviously didn't come out on the big screen. It went to Hulu, so it was deemed a success due to the viewing numbers. So you're not actually seeing money returns for that. So if they had put it on the big screen, the question was always asked, would it have been successful? I think it would have been, but I think it would have been one of those, much like Alien Romulus, where it made enough money to warrant more, but the reaction to it was a little muted after the fan base actually watched it. Critics again loved it, much like they loved Alien Romulus, but the fan base were divided on what the actual thoughts were for that movie. Then we get the news that Badlands was coming, and there's already some confusion with Badlands that people think it is the sequel to Prey. They think it's Prey 2, and they still don't realize that it's not. It's nothing to do with Prey. It's not even set in that time period. It's set well in the future. It's more so linking up to the Alien universe, because there's Weyland-Yutani stuff in here. Then, of course, you get Killer of Killers, which did start linking up things from Prey, mainly the flintlock, and of course, Naru being in the chamber at the end. But the likes of Killer of Killers is a movie where you definitely weren't going to put that on the big screen and see return in profits. That would never work because it was an animated movie. So the real question now hinges on Badlands, the first live action Predator movie that will be on the big screen. And because Prey was successful, Dan Trachtenberg seemed to get into his head that no matter what he does with the Predator universe, people will enjoy it. That he was given pretty much free reign. And of course, once that trailer came out, people saw what the Predator looked like, and already controversy started. Then you see the Weyland-Yutani people immediately started saying, are you trying to build this up to be a crossover with Alien for a new AVP? Controversy starts around that. Then of course you find out, oh, the Predator is the protagonist and he's actually going to team up with Elle Fanning. More controversy starts to surround it. So the real question is, has he bitten off more than he can chew? Will this actually be the end of Predator if this thing doesn't work? What does Disney do? Do they just relegate it back to being a Hulu exclusive? Or do they put it on ice until they think enough time has passed for them to try and reignite interest in the Predator franchise again? Or do they actually do the unthinkable and sell the property off? Do they say, hey, Warner Brothers, you fancy buying the Predator universe? Who knows? But there is an absolute unbelievable amount of pressure sitting on the shoulders of Predator Badlands, and it will apparently be at Comic-Con this year as a new banner has popped up. There seems to be some articles saying a new poster has leaked hinting at the AVP crossover. There's nothing in it to hint at an AVP crossover other than the fact that Elle Fanning is a Yutani android. But it's not a leaked poster, it's a banner that is hanging on lampposts in Seattle, in San Diego right now for Comic-Con. So I don't know why they think this thing is leaked. But overall, so much pressure is actually on this movie because unlike Hulu, you can't just say, oh, it was the #1 movie. We will see the actual numbers, and those numbers are called profit. If this thing doesn't make profit, I think they're in trouble for their future plans. But we'll have to actually wait and see what happens with it. There does seem to be interest in the movie, but there also seems to be a lot of hesitancy around the movie, mainly regarding the look of the Predator and the idea that the Predator will in fact be the protagonist of the movie. And of course, The Predator, the last live action movie that was on the big screen, has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and they might not want to go in and watch a movie where the Predator looks more human than a predator. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We do have to wait until November, but they can't hide these numbers. So with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.